The Secret to a Happy Life Part 3. Here we go.
And, I guess to the tips that you offered in the talk, you talked about how we can build warm connections, steps that we can take, and this idea of social fitness. And so I'm curious, how can we actually assess our social fitness? And as you said, just sort of understand what is right for us in terms of how many friends to have. And is it possible to sustain warm relationships if you aren't really intentional in thinking about your social fitness?
That question of how do we assess our social fitness, it's really checking in and saying, am I as connected as I would like to be to other people? And if I'm not, what am I missing? So not all relationships provide us with the same stuff. Some relationships are relationships we have because they're fun, So, and so they're the people I like to go out and party with. Some relationships are the relationships that help me when I'm scared or hurting or worried about something, and I need someone to talk things over with. I need a sounding board, a good advisor. Some relationships are the people who loan me tools when I need to fix something and I don't have the right tool, or give me a ride to the doctor. So part of it is checking in about what am I missing, and then seeing what might be possible in terms of developing more of the relationships that give us the things we want more of.
And along those same lines, TED member Tiana wants to know how do we define if a relationship is actually meaningful or not? I mean, it sounds like understanding what these voices are saying, but are there other things we should pay attention to know if it's valuable, if this is a warm connection?
Yeah. One way to think about it is not whether the relationship is smooth all the time, but whether we feel that we can be authentic, we can be ourselves in a relationship. And obviously we won't be the same selves in a work relationship that we might be with our, beloved sister, but still, can I be myself in the most essential ways? Can I express myself? And can the other person express themselves? Because I think that's where what we really want is to feel known and to feel seen, and not to feel like we are having to maintain a facade that hides who we are. And so the best relationships are those where we feel we can be ourselves.
And you talked about how really it's romantic relationships, friendships, acquaintances. I mean, all of these relationships matter, but do you find that one of these is maybe more significant than the other, or how do you look at them?
I look at it in terms of the secure attachment. We think about it. Attachment is a word for being warmly, securely connected. It's the who can you call in the middle of the night if you're sick or scared. So I think of it in those terms, not necessarily the person's role, defined role in our life, like romantic partner or boss, but it's does this person have my back? And so that's, I think, the defining element that we want to find somewhere in our world.
So we have so many member questions coming in, Bob, and I'm going to kind of go through a few more of them. So TED member Nancy wants to know if you think it's possible for an endemically unhappy person at some point in life to obtain happiness.
Yes. And thank you for asking that question. So we have a couple of life stories in our book. The book contains real stories of real people. The names are disguised to protect confidentiality, but some of those stories are of people who have big turnarounds late in life, people who were isolated and less happy, and in their 60s found a whole community. One man found a community at a gym that he never dreamed he would find. And so the message that we get from studying these thousands of lives is it is never too late. And so don't assume that it's too late for you, even if you feel like you've not had good luck with this in the past.
Well, Bob, we're getting some questions about you, and I want to turn to you for a second. And I'm curious how running this study has changed the way you approach life and your own pursuit of happiness.
Oh, gosh. Well, one of the things it's helped me with is the idea that everybody has struggles in their life. That has been so meaningful to me because I can also look at the world and say, gee, other people seem to have lives that have it all figured out and perfect lives. It is so helpful to know that there isn't a person on the planet who doesn't have struggles. And it makes me feel less alone when I can recognize that. And that's one of the reasons why I want to keep getting these messages out after having studied thousands of lives. And I think the other thing that it's changed is my own priorities. So I realized, okay, I can sit here this afternoon and edit another paper or do more work, or I can see my friend who I haven't seen in a month. And so I've become more active in taking care of my relationships, and it makes a big difference. So I would say that those are the two big things for me that directing this study has changed about my life.
Well, we have a question from TED member Nisa. They ask, as a mother of two very young children, what advice do you have for parents to build strong, healthy relationships now through adulthood?
For parents, it's really helping your children to pay attention to how they feel and to learn to use their feelings with more choice. So learning to love what they love and hang on to what they love, even if it's not so popular. I had a mother talk to me about how her child really loved doing improv comedy. And he's only 12 and his friends don't like that. And so we talked about how do you help your child feel supported in loving what he loves and taking an improv class, right? So helping your kids learn that it's okay to love something that's not the same as all the other kids in their group and keep loving what they love, and helping kids learn that it's okay to be unhappy and that will pass, that feelings come and go, that it's okay to disagree. Families can model, parents can model for kids. We can have disagreements, we can work it out and hold on to these good relationships, even through disagreements. Those are some of the biggest lessons we can help our children with about how to use their feelings rather than kind of be buffeted by their feelings and ruled by their feelings.
I'm curious just where you see the study going from here.
We are collecting more data, even as we speak. We are collecting more information from the children. Almost all the original participants have passed away, but their children are all baby boomers on average. And so we're collecting information, including about what life was like during the pandemic, also collecting information about how they use social media, which is something we've all been talking about a bit here. And I think in terms of the future, we see ourselves as wanting to make our data available to more and more researchers. So we want to collaborate, and we do collaborate with other research groups. We say, come in and use our data and ask new questions that we don't even think to ask, because we have this treasure trove of information about thousands of lives. And then we're going to make it publicly available on public websites because, much of our work has been funded by the federal government, by NIH, with taxpayer money. And so we feel a responsibility to make this information available to other researchers who want to ask their own questions about our data.
Well, Bob, you've shared so many great things with us. I feel like if people were listening and trying to absorb all of it, and at the very end of this conversation, want just one nugget of information that if you missed everything, what is the one thing that you want everyone to walk away from at the end of this conversation?
That if you want to make one choice today that will make you healthier and happier, it is to pay attention to improving your connections with other people. That is such a good investment, and it will pay off for years to come.
The main takeaway from today's podcast is that if you want to make one choice today that will make you healthier and happier, it is to pay attention to improving your connections with other people. Thanks for tuning in to the Podclectic Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and join us next time for more eclectic insights.